assessor, all the different departments here. It's kind of highlighted. I don't know if that's easy to read at home. We will make this available on our website for those viewing at home, so you can certainly find it there. It will be up there tomorrow. But essentially, this is all the other department expenses that are required to carry out the operations, the day-to-day operations throughout the Township Hall. And then this is the condensed expenditures for the fiscal year 21 through 2022, when we break it down into just very simple general government, planning and zoning, community projects. That's our 401 capital projects fund. That's what we look to spend, at least that's what's projected this year. Obviously, our budget is a living document and it will change from time to time. Just because it's in the budget doesn't necessarily mean we are going to spend it. A lot of these expenditures do come back to the Township Board for a secondary approval. So that's kind of my rough summary on the general fund. As I've said before, this is all the prior presentations that you've seen before. I've printed off hard copies of the actual budget, trying to start my rendition of a budget book that I hope to have completed next year. Those are available to the public and will be on our website as well for the folks at home who are interested in that. We do have a few copies available at the front counter right now as we speak. You will see some minor anomalies from the prior versions. If you remember, the merit pool for the wages was kind of a lump sum. We have distributed that. We also have a few other changes. For instance, Dr. Lou Bender's workshop was technically supposed to happen in the our current fiscal year. It's now scheduled for the next fiscal year. So we did amend that very quickly. It's just simple housekeeping. But other than that, I'll turn it back over to you, Bill, for any questions.
Any board members have questions for Bob?
Just one clarification on the general fund estimated expenditures where we have the transfer out.
Yes.
I just want to make mention that that transfer out is into the community projects, right?
Yes, you are correct. I apologize for
I don't want
that.
anybody to get confused that that's not allocated somewhere.
That is correct. So generally that goes into what's known as our 401 Capital Projects Fund. We do not have a Parks and Rec division. That's how our parks are funded. That is how our sidewalks and any improvements, capital projects throughout the township, short of any road projects, because the road projects are strictly funded through the road millage. So as part of the Safer Roads Plan that was approved in 2014.
Bob, could you go back to the page with the truth in taxation?
Yeah, absolutely.
And just, if you want to, maybe for those that are at home, explain how you get to a like 0.7699 mils. With a headlight override, it goes down every year.
Yeah, so the truth in taxation, generally what happens is the mills is a best estimate because it depends on property values. Obviously, property values currently are exceeding the rate of inflation, and therefore we cannot exceed the rate of inflation with our mills. And when it comes down to a percentage of your overall home value, it actually gets reduced as home values climb. That's probably the best way I can explain it to the folks at home. If you have very detailed questions, our township assessor is available Monday through Thursday. I'd urge you to reach out. But essentially, it's a difference in inflation versus the market value or what the actual property values are climbing. Currently, they are exceeding inflation, and we are capped by what the millage rates can increase every year. So.
Thanks, Bob. So if you take a look at the road millage was passed about 7 years ago at 1.5 mils, and over that time, the Proposal A, I believe is what it was called, it's gone down to 1.44. So the fire millage most likely will, if the trend continues, would be less than the 2.06 next year as well, which was approved last year. But sometimes it's hard to understand that, but hopefully we gave a little bit of background to make it a little easier to understand. So with that, if there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion for the resolution.
I'll move to approve the resolution to establish a general appropriation acts for the 2022 fiscal year.
Support.
Motion by Treasurer Horning, second by Trustee Petrucci. Any other discussion? Being none, I'll have the clerk please call the roll.
Supervisor Fountain,
Yes?
Trustee O'Connell,
Yes.
Treasurer Horning,
Yes.
Trustee McMullen,
Yes.
Clerk Chofu, yes. Trustee Petrucci,
Yes.
Trustee Germain.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item number C is a purchase agreement for a parcel on Dunham Road. This roughly just over 4-acre parcel is on Dunham Road. It's adjacent to our park. This came about kind of a short notice. But we talked about this in closed session. We debated and waited to a second closed session to talk about what the value of this parcel would be. We did put an offer in this closure to that at the public hearing, so that after whatever this vote goes, that our property most likely will be adjacent to our park. And the number one element was access and safety for not only pedestrians, but perhaps down the road to a parking lot or vehicular traffic that may enter there. It was not going to be able to happen through the road commission at the existing site. So, Bob, did I cover?
No, I think you covered it, and just for clarification, the reason, what we're doing this evening is I'm seeking authorization for the township supervisor and township clerk to act as agents on behalf of the board to facilitate the closing. The closing is expected prior to our next meeting, and it's going to be the logistics to try and assemble a meeting just isn't going to be feasible, quite frankly. So the purchase agreement was accepted as presented by the sellers, and what we're seeking at this point in time, authorization again to basically close on the property at this point. And again, it's expected in 2 weeks from now is a target date.
Thank you. This was not a resolution, so I would entertain a motion.
As soon as I find it, I'll make it. I'll move to approve the purchase agreement for parcel 470821200026 as presented, and furthermore authorize the township supervisor and the township clerk agents on behalf of the township to facilitate the closing procedure.
Support.
Had a motion by Clerk Schofu, second by Trustee Germain. Any other discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you.
No, on the budget, but
If there's nobody here.
yeah, if there's nobody here,
You don't have to open it, correct? I just want to make sure that we're missing something there. Okay, we'll start with board reports this evening. Trustee Petrucci?
Well, I was going to make a comment before we voted on the last item, but I can make it now, I suppose, that if the purchase agreement goes through and everything is fine, and I always say if because you never know what's going to happen, I would like to start as soon as possible on the process of getting the safety crossing started there. I don't know whether or not we're going to need engineering. I don't know, approvals through the county, but all this stuff takes time, and I don't want to wait 3 or 4 years to have it done. The primary purchase to buy that property purpose was for safety. So let's get it done. That's the way I see it. That's just the only comment I'd like to make on that. And I guess I can save my other comments for later.
Okay, thank you. Clerk Schofu?
I've got no report.
Treasurer Horning?
Nothing this evening?
Trustee Germain?
I have nothing, but I do have a question for the clerk. Do we have an opening date yet for the farmer's market? I've already had people asking.
I'm in charge of the farmer's market. It opens on May 8th.
May 8th.
Anybody who wants to be a vendor can contact the treasurer's office, and we have forms available.
Thank you.
Trustee O'Connell,
No report.
Trustee McMullen,
No report.
and I have no report this evening. Anything else for this portion before we go into work session?
Can you do me a big favor?
We'll take a brief recess, and then we'll go into work session.
We turn it off at the recess. Yeah, I don't want anything recorded from here on out. And I can jump in here if you want.